Hi, and welcome along to World Cup Daily, the show that takes a look at World Cup and Arsenal transfer news. And we're going to get straight into the World Cup. Fantastic games yesterday. Brazil versus Chile. What a wonderful game of football. What a wonderful advert for football. That game had me gripped on the edge of my seat. Just wonderful football throughout the game. Lots of attacking football. And then in the end, it boiled down to penalties, and Julio Cesar, the player formerly of Queen's Park Rangers, or should I say still at Queen's Park Rangers, he's out on loan at the moment to Toronto, and he pulled off a couple of great saves, plus some misses in there, and that penalty shootout, it ebbed one way and the other, and I kept thinking to myself, I can't believe this. Surely Brazil ain't going to go out. What's going to happen to the competition if Brazil go out, but they prevailed? Cesar pulled off a couple of good saves, and Brazil are through to the next round. And just an incredible game of football. We billed it yesterday as Neymar versus Alexis Sanchez. And if you was to bill it that way and say who came out on top, it's got to be Alexis Sanchez. He scored a great goal, and he just run the show for Chile. Him and Arturo Vidal, actually. Vidal, again, was excellent. When you think he's coming back off of a really horrific injury, he was excellent. And Sanchez, just a wonderful, wonderful player. He's got everything. We saw him when he came over to England and played at Wembley, how the way he destroyed England. And again yesterday, he just had Brazil's defence in all kinds of problems throughout the game. And Chile, in general, it's really a shame that they've gone out, because the way they play that high pressing game is absolutely unbelievable. They just gave Brazil no time. Neymar really was quite anonymous throughout the game. Couple of good efforts from him, but it looked like he sort of took a little bit of an injury earlier on in the game. He got sort of knee in his thigh, and it looked like that kind of affected him, because it just wasn't the Neymar that we've been used to being seen in the tournament. But listen, it can't be Neymar all the time. The other Brazilian players have got to step up, and I thought Hulk yesterday had a very good game. And I'll tell you what, I think there's one relieved person with that result yesterday, and that's Howard Webb. Now, looking back on the replays, it looks like he got the decision right. It was a handball, but if Brazil would have went out, I'll tell you what, how would he have got out of Brazil? Brave refereeing by Howard Webb, but I was quite impressed by Hulk yesterday. Two players I weren't impressed by, and I haven't been impressed by at all this tournament, is Fred and Joe. They've got to be the worst Brazilian strikers I've ever seen. I mean, they're just useless. I'm being honest. I mean, they just offer nothing for Brazil going forward. Now, I'd personally leave those two out and play Hulk down the middle, because just terrible. I think to myself, I put out a tweet yesterday and said I think both of them need to be DNA tested to find out if they really are Brazilian, because they just don't fit that mould of Brazilian strikers. I mean, when we think of the strikers down the years that Brazil have had, and then to see Fred and Joe in action, I mean, they are ordinary at best, and they're leading the line for Brazil. And if Brazil are to win the World Cup, those two really, really need to step up. But Brazil keep marching on, and there was also the other game that was played yesterday, Colombia versus Uruguay. Fantastic performance by Colombia. It's a team that I really, really rated before the tournament. It's a shame now that Colombia are through and going to play Brazil in the next round, because I wanted to see, hopefully, both of those two go right down to the end and be near the final, because I love how both of them play. Colombia attacking football, and what a goal by James Rodriguez. I mean, that's the goal of the tournament. The way he took that on his chest, had a glance, and then rifled that into the goal. I mean, that was the best goal of the tournament so far. He scored 2 goals, now the leading scorer in the tournament. And I said it before the tournament, I told everybody, watch out for this guy. He's an exceptional player, and he's proving it right now. Monaco paid a lot of money for him when they bought him from Porto for about £45 million. How much must he be worth yet now? You know, Real Madrid and all those teams must be hovering, because he is absolute class and is really leading things in that Colombian team, and a really, really good team, Colombia. The only thing with Colombia that might let them down, I think, against Brazil, maybe the defending, not as good defensively as, say, Chile. but going forward, they can definitely hurt teams. And that game next week, Brazil versus Colombia, is going to be absolutely brilliant game. Looking forward to that already. Neymar versus James Rodriguez. That is going to be some matchup. Let's take a look at the Arsenal transfer news now. Two players have been heavily linked with a move to Arsenal today. There's a French journalist, his name's called Francois Pinet, and he says that he understands, he put out on his Twitter yesterday, he understands that Alexis Sanchez and Morgan Schneiderlin are both definitely moving to Arsenal. Now, don't know where he gets his information from, but that's what he's put out there. He's previously called the transfers of Laurent Koscielny and Olivier Giroud, so he's normally quite a reliable guy. Let's hope he's being reliable at the moment, especially on the Alexis Sanchez thing, because Alexis Sanchez, if he was at Arsenal playing as an out-and-out striker, I reckon he's the sort of player that could be another Suarez in the making, minus the biting, because he is such a talented player. You could play him as an out-and-out striker. But that's what he's saying. He's saying that he understands that Alexis Sanchez and Morgan Schneiderlin are both going to be moving to Arsenal. We're going to have a look at that. I mean, of course, there was the fan on the beach a couple of days ago pleading to Arsene Wenger, Southampton fan, that he doesn't want Arsene Wenger to sign Schneiderlin, and Wenger didn't answer him, so maybe there might be something in that. But the one that I'd love to see would be Alexis Sanchez. That would be awesome. Of course, Manchester United are also in for him, and also maybe Barcelona might be looking on it and thinking, do we really want to sell this guy? He's looked so brilliant in the World Cup. Maybe we should hang on to him. But they've got so many stars. I mean, imagine Barcelona. They should be winning everything. Messi, Alexis Sanchez, and Neymar. I mean, maybe it's a case of too many cooks, but brilliant player, Alexis Sanchez, and that's what that journalist is calling. He's saying that's definitely going to happen. We're going to have to watch this space and see if he's right. Another player we've been told today has been linked with Arsenal's Clement Grenier. He, of course, has been linked with Arsenal before, plays his football in Lyon. The price tag at the moment, they're saying, to be about £7.5 million. And talented player, didn't actually make it to the World Cup because of an injury, or you would have seen him playing for France. Very skillful, very technical. Again, do we need another of that type of player? I can't see that one again, because if we're going to go for Grenier, wouldn't we have then bought in Fabregas? I mean, I personally can't see the Grenier thing happening, but that's another player being linked today, according to the Metro newspaper. And Jackson Martinez, again, being linked. He's got a new agent, apparently, and apparently what's been said is that Arsene Wenger has made an inquiry to find out, and this sounds typically Arsene Wenger, to find out if Porto will be up for selling him for less than the £35 million price tag that has been put out for Jackson Martinez. Wenger values him more around about 20 million, which actually I think is fair. I don't think Jackson Martinez is worth 35 million pounds. I think that is a ridiculous amount of money for Jackson Martinez. So Wenger apparently is inquiring to find out if he can get him cheaper, and if he can, maybe that's something that they may look into. But remember, at this time of year in the transfer business, there's lots of inquiries. Inquiries don't mean that a player's coming. It's an inquiry. It'd be like I go into a shop and I see 10 nice T-shirts. I'm going to inquire at the price of each one of them before I decide which one I'm going to buy. So it's an inquiry. Of course, newspapers turn that into transfer and make it look like this person's coming. We don't know. It's an inquiry at the moment, but Arsenal definitely interested in Jackson Martinez. Another bit of news, Loic Remy, who's a player that I've said this for quite a lot of weeks, that I'd been told that was something that was definitely going to happen. Well, we're being told today that Spurs are trying to hijack that deal for Loic Remy. They want Loic Remy to go to Spurs, and they're promising him first-team football. They're saying if you go to Arsenal, there's no guarantee you're going to start week in, week out. Come to us, and you will start week in, week out. And they're trying to hijack that deal for Loic Remy. Of course, Arsenal would be able to offer Loic Remy Champions League football, something that Tottenham won't be able to offer him. But we're going to, again, have to watch this space on that one. But apparently, Spurs are looking to get in there on the Loic Remy deal. Of course, he's a proven striker in the Premier League, scores goals, and would only cost about £8 million. And let me actually just tell you about a couple of games today. Holland versus Mexico. That should be a great game. No given there for Holland. I mean, I make Holland the favourites with Robin and Robin van Persie, but no given, Mexico have been very, very good in the games they've played. Remember, against Brazil as well, they're a very, very good team, Mexico. Going to have a massive support behind them, so that's going to be a tough one for Holland. And Costa Rica versus Greece. Looking forward to that game. Joel Campbell out in action again. Wouldn't it be amazing if Costa Rica could go through, even if Greece went through? I mean, two teams that weren't fancied at all since the start of this tournament, and now they're both on the verge of going into the quarterfinals. This World Cup has been amazing. I'll be supporting Costa Rica tonight. I told you the other day my grandmother was born in Costa Rica, so I've got to be up for that. And that should be an incredible game. Let's just get into a couple of comments before we go here. Milecio FIFA says Cuadro is a must, I think. Cuadro yesterday, I was looking at him, very, very skillful player for Colombia. Excellent player. The one thing I thought with him sometimes, some of his decision making, some of the places where he tried little tricks and gave the ball away, he'd have to watch that. But definitely a talent, Cuadro. Because 97 says, I just hope that some of the deals are in place, because it's getting worrying watching the competition rise for these players. And you're right, mate. We haven't really got nothing done yet, and we see a lot of players going to other clubs. Ollie Stanbridge says, Sanchez can come and play striker. Can you come and play striker at Arsenal, please? Well, listen, he's out of the World Cup now, so if they're going to try and make a deal for Sanchez, they've got to get on that quick, because, as I said, every top club in the world would have seen his performances, and you know, that's going to be really, really tough to pull off Sanchez. But if they did pull it off, it would be on the same level as, say, signing Mesut Ozil. That'd be a massive, massive signing. Ari Gabriel also says 11 players released and still no signings. A bit like how Arsenal did it last year, though. They released all the players first and you know, didn't bring in the signings, well, till the last minute. Namt ORB says, still need a backup keeper and a right back. If we got Sanchez and Schneiderlin, yes. There's quite a lot of signings required. Who else we've got here? David J. Lloyd says, which striker do you think Arsenal need to sign? I would love Alexis Sanchez. I was saying before, when it was rumoured with Balotelli, I was saying I wouldn't mind Balotelli. I still wouldn't mind to see Balotelli, but we know now that's not going to happen. But Alexis Sanchez, I think, could be another Suarez in the Premier League. He is that good. He can play as an out-and-out striker. You can also interchange him, and I think he'd be a great addition for Arsenal. And he'd come to Arsenal and be more of a main man than he is at Barcelona. Alberto too says, Holland, we're going to win tonight. Mexico is ours. 3-1 to Holland. So I presume he's a Holland fan. Listen, Holland have looked very, very good in this tournament, and they should win that game. But Mexico, I've been very, very impressed with them. And in Dos Santos as well, they've got a very, very good player there. They're going to be a hard nut to crack, they are. Daniel Chu said, after watching Fred and Joe, we should be grateful we have Giroud, although we still need another world-class striker. Definitely, I'll tell you what, Fred in particular, he just doesn't move. He doesn't hold the ball up. He doesn't move. He's just awful. You know? Jan says we should buy Joe. Wenger must think he's a prospect player. You must be joking, man. I don't want to see him at the club. Last couple here. Luke Swig Walker says Vidal, Sanchez, and a world-class centre-back. Sanchez to play up front. That would be a dream, but that would cost a lot of money. Very impressed with Arturo Vidal yesterday, and Wenger has been saying that he's a great player. And EJW says Chile should have won. Of course, Chile had that chance right at the end when it hit the crossbar. And when that happened, I was like, they ain't going to win this. The luck's gone against them. Brilliant performance by Chile. But for the sake of the tournament, I think that I'm really happy that Brazil went through. Plus, as well, Brazil's been my prediction to win the tournament. So I've got to stick by Brazil. But fantastic game yesterday. Let's hope the games today are just as good. And thanks for watching World Cup Daily. Thank you for all your comments, by the way. The amount of comments we get on these videos, absolutely incredible. I'll try and answer as many of them later on as I can. I always read through them as well, even if I don't answer them. So thank you very much for the comments, and keep them coming in. And don't forget our match predictor. Let me get the ball. We're going to be doing it today on the Costa Rica-Greece game. You can win yourself one of these. Adidas Brazuca ball has been used in the World Cup. If you get the score right for the Costa Rica versus Greece game, go to our match predictor, go to our app. If you haven't got our app already, download it from iTunes or from Android. It's Arsenal Fan TV, and predict the score of tonight's game, Costa Rica versus Greece. Thanks very much for watching.